Happy Friday to all of our 904 minions. Thank you for joining us so bright and early. We've got District 3 Commissioner and Vice Chair of the Board, Clay Murphy, in studio this morning. We'll be talking to him about his first 6 months as commissioner, how he's handled criticism on social media and in the public, and a whole lot more. Maybe that Guano Park situation is going to come up. We will get to all that and more, but first, Bozard Ford Lincoln. Since 1949, Bozard Ford Lincoln has been more than just a dealership. It's a family-owned tradition built on honesty, integrity, and true community service right here in St. Augustine, Florida. Experience award-winning service in their state-of-the-art facility with 91 climate-controlled service bays, a quick lane for no appointment needed maintenance, and the comfort of their customer lounge. Don't forget Ford's Garage. Have a Jiffy Burger. Right now, take advantage of Ford's employee pricing from America for America. It's their best pricing of the year, extended to you as part of Ford's commitment to the people who drive this country forward. Visit Bozard Ford Lincoln just off I-95 and State Road 16, where you're not just a customer, you're family. They are driven to inspire. A big shout out to all of our amazing sponsors. We've got Fidus Roofing, Old Town Trolley, Bin 39 Wine Bar, BNS Signs, Chiba Hut Toasted Subs, St. Augie's Pizza, Chris Lucero Bail Bonds, and St. Augustine Handy Houses. Support all of our wonderful sponsors, and you can support us with your likes, comments, and shares. Find us on YouTube. Help us hit that 1,000 subscriber goal. Help prevent Mike from cutting off the lights by sending stars on Facebook. We really appreciate that. Our app is back in the Apple App Store with new features like a playlist link for Bollocks this evening, 904 Vault, and direct links to St. Johns County, St. Augustine, and St. Augustine Beach public meetings. All right, we've done all that. How are you doing today, Troy?
Hey, happy Friday. It's been a long week. It's like almost been like 5 days of work or something.
I know, 5 days with me, and it's been like a year. Huh?
And you got extra duty last night.
I did.
Yeah. Got in an extra show for you.
Yeah, 6 shows.
Blake had to work at the Flagler event, and
Yep.
you filled in so wonderfully like you always do.
Oh, thanks. It was fun.
Yeah.
Fun to hit back the evening show.
Yeah. Lenny always makes it,
Yeah.
He's our Ivy Leaguer here.
Of course.
So he always makes it fun. But Blake, you alive back there?
Yes, I am alive back there. It's definitely nice to be in the darkness back here. Except for the one light I have in front of me.
Yeah, the
beauty light
directly in front of you.
He's got the makeup influencer.
I'm beginning to understand that comment. Yeah. It's good to be in the back in the dark.
Yeah.
In the dark's not a terrible place.
Yeah. I mean, being the swing voter, you're like the prettiest girl at the ball and public enemy number one. So I imagine you've had a fun
huge target. I was kind of hoping I could be the 1 and a 4-1 vote for a year or two, so I could because there's so much to learn. On the campaign trail is easy. You can pretty much say anything you want to, but when you get behind the chair, and when you get in the chair behind the dais, you realize that those pesky little things called rules and laws that you have to go through. Mm-hmm. They don't give you a magic wand. I've been waiting on a magic wand for the first 5 months and 3 weeks, but who's counting?
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Question of the day.
Question of the day.
We're at?
Yeah.
All right. Question of the day. Snooze or no snooze, and how many snoozes? Snooze, no snooze, and then how many snoozes if it is a snooze?
Today has been my worst snooze day since I started the morning show.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I am a chronic snoozer. It's terrible. It's very bad. Definitely hit snooze probably about, let me do the math, carry the one, probably about 7 times today.
7 times today.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of snoozes.
And I use snooze to time my morning.
Yeah.
So I usually hit snooze once.
Mm-hmm.
I'll sleep through that one.
Yeah.
I'll hit it again, get up,
Mm-hmm.
take the dogs out, do what I got to do. When it goes off, it's like, okay, I got to be in the shower now.
Yeah.
And then when it goes off again, it's like, okay, do I have a Stoidemstat? Do I have my shoe? What am I wearing? What did I wear yesterday? Because I don't think people think about that as much as what we have to.
We really do have to.
And it's like, it's like, okay, I wore this on Monday. I can't wear it the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Like everybody else can put on their, like, their shirt.
Uniform.
Like their same, the uniform or whatever it is. So all of that goes through. But I think I drive everyone in the house crazy with my snooze because I'm completely awake walking around, it's going off. I'll hit it again, and then
That makes sense
and I
though
know-
to pace your day.
and when it times out exactly when I should leave too,
Yeah.
when I should be out of the house. So I use my snooze in a way I don't think most people do.
I think that's the way it probably should be used to benefit you much better than what I do.
Probably a wise way to do that.
And,
Yes.
and I'll tell you, I looked up this morning because I was like, I wonder why it's 9 minutes.
Hmm.
Okay, there's a reason why it's 9 minutes.
Okay.
Engineers had trouble with the mechanical clocks being on the 10 minute.
Oh yeah, because it had to change too.
Yeah, and it had to change 2 of the flip things,
Uh-huh.
so they chose to do it 9 minutes to make it easier. And then when it came to the digital, everyone
And it
was
just
so
stuck.
used to it being
Yeah.
9 minutes, they left it at 9 minutes.
You learn something new every day.
I mean, I didn't know, so I was like, I was like, I know this is going to be my question of the day, but I want to know why it's 9 minutes. And that's the reason is because the mechanical clocks. It was a challenge to do it at the 10 minute mark.
That's kind of like that breakdown. Have you seen that breakdown where the fuel boosters of the space shuttle, where the size of them was ultimately determined by the width of the wagon wheel, the chariot wheels on Roman roads, because our road length, our road width,
Width were like
got
that.
standardized based on wagon and chariot widths. And so train tracks were mirrored, tunnels were built around that. And so in order to get the boosters from one end of the country to
To the other, they had to make
they had
it.
to go through train tunnels, which were all standardized by chariot wheels long before us.
That's so I
Almost
mean,
fun.
like,
You know, I could go home and go to bed now. I'm full.
now you got all the knowledge.
I've got all the knowledge I
all the
need
knowledge you
today.
need.
Don't forget
So-
to hit snooze.
Yeah.
Blake, I know the answer, but tell people about your snoozing habits.
So most of my alarm clocks come from Alexa.
Most.
Yes.
All right. So
Yes.
more than one.
Yes, I
Clocks plural.
I think I have like 4 alarms. 3 of them are on my Echo, and one on my phone. So I only snooze on my phone alarm because my Echo doesn't have a snooze on it. But however, technically I also do have a 5th alarm, which is this guy right here.
And that's the one he used today.
So
That's the
technically,
one
I
I
do
use.
have 2 alarm clocks. I have one of those sunrise alarm clocks.
Uh-huh.
That's obnoxious. And so I set that after this one.
Uh-huh.
And so this one goes off. I wake up. I turn that off. The light's on now. So now I'm waking up anyway. So I'm not like really asleep when I hit snooze. So yeah, I get that, Blake.
And I'm a person that usually wakes up before my alarm goes off in a panic going, did I not set my alarm?
Yeah.
And I'm completely awake at that point.
Had a couple of moments this week like that.
All right, Commissioner, are you a snooze or a non-snoozer, and how many snoozies?
I'm a snoozer, but it's usually just one.
Just
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Just kind of
Yeah.
get things.
Yeah, I gotta stretch. Well, never mind. You know, one of the things I prayed for on the way over here this morning was discernment. So I'll just keep my mouth shut about that. I can just say that you know, I never thought I'd ever be 64 years old, and at 64, I've grown so comfortable. My bed is one of those places to where I long for during the day sometimes.
Yeah.
Because that's the most comfortable spot in the house.
Yeah.
It's me, rescue dog number 1, rescue cat 1, 2, 3, and then mama. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty warm spot. So.
Yeah. That's a nice spot to be in.
It is comfortable.
I've finally gotten to that point in my life where it's not like a flex that I can stay up late.
Yeah.
Like I've finally gotten to the point where it's like, nah, 10:30 bedtime sounds real good. But now I have teenagers and they always want to have the conversations, like the important
The importance
conversations.
at night. Yeah, I did too.
Starting at like 10:45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom, that was the thing about my mom and I. When my mom passed away and my dad sold the house, the only thing I wanted out of it was 2 kitchen chairs.
Yeah.
Because she would always be waiting up.
Yeah.
And we would sit in the kitchen and talk. And
Nice.
so I just wanted 2 chairs. I got one in one of the kids' room, one in the other kid's room. And so
That's cool.
it's pretty cool.
Now it's time for a quick check of the weather.
All right.
That quick check of the weather is brought to you by Bin 39, tucked inside the St. George Inn at the north end of St. George Street. Bin 39 is St. Augustine's hidden gem, offering over 95 boutique wines, including 50 rated over 90 points by Robert Parker, Perfect for a quiet date or after-work escape. Enjoy rare wines by the glass or bottle in a charming courtyard setting. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The live music is Thursday through Sunday. Come, sip, relax, and say, I'll have what Irving's having. Discover your new favorite pour at Bin 39. Your taste to discover. All right, Blake, hit the Blake's traffic report.
Traffic. Yeah, so it looks like I-95 is looking very good right now. I really do wish we do have a traffic camera that's directly on the King Street Bridge right now. If anyone does want to invest in that, please let us know, and we will gladly show it every single day on the Story Them.
If only we knew someone that works for Flagler.
For two more weeks.
Yeah.
Hey, look.
It looks like a haunted commute today.
It definitely is. There's definitely a lot of fruit falling around on the streets as well.
Yeah.
And a little bit of ghosts as well. Just so.
Somebody else is hungry, Troy.
Yeah.
So I got a call on the way over here this morning about 16 and 95.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. When is it going
Have you driven through there lately? And I'm like, yeah, I drove through there yesterday. Well, have you ever tried to get going westbound to southbound on the interstate? That little thing that they got? He's like, you can't turn a truck around in there. Oh, what are they thinking? And I'm like, I'm not sure there was a whole lot of that going on.
Do they know where your business is?
Do they know? Don't they know people got to get to the other side of the interstate?
I think if anybody knows, you and Pam know that intersection
We
as
know
well
it.
as anybody.
Yeah. People say, have you seen that? I'm like, yep, every day. So yeah, we get it.
I hate that intersection right now.
Yeah.
To stay out of all of the intersections, hop on Old Town Trolley. You can hop aboard and explore 500 years of St. Augustine's rich history and charm. Enjoy open-air views and iconic sites like the Castillo de San Marcos, the Fountain of Youth, and Flagler's Grand Hotel. This 90-minute tour includes 22 convenient stops, 100-plus points of interest, and all-day hop-on, hop-off access. Your ticket also includes free admission to the St. Augustine History Museum and more. St. Johns County residents ride free with a full fare guest. Sign up today at hometownpass.com. Old Town Trolley, the best way to see the nation's oldest city. All right, we've done the business stuff, so now we can just talk.
All right. And of course, as you guys know, we have Commissioner Clay Murphy in studio. And Clay, I appreciate you being in here. You and I have been friends for decades.
Long time.
You were a softball player back in the day when you were still a highway patrolman, and that's how we met. And your beautiful wife I met because I coached her daughter, your daughter,
Alicia,
in softball back in like '91.
That's right, it was a long time ago.
We go back a long ways. I was so happy when you got in the race because we need people like you sitting up there on that in those seats. And
thank you.
So glad you're here. And, I got to congratulate you. You fought a tough campaign against somebody who had a lot more money. I like the other gentleman that you're running against, but I mean, you just worked and worked and worked, and it came out to success.
Yeah, I'd love to take credit for it, but, most of the credit goes to my wife. She was the engine that drove the bus. I was just the dumb bus driver. But we had an incredible team of volunteers. Just shout out to just a couple of them. Stacy and Jeff were, we kind of tease people all the time. Everybody who's running for office needs a Stacy. She was one of those people that came along and beside us and really, helped us get across. But my family, Alicia, all the girls. If you know the girls, I'm not going to mention anybody, embarrass anybody, but if you know the girls and where they work and what all they do, they're amazing. And I really appreciate Connor and Corey and the grandbabies. Everybody got in on it. The nieces, the nephews, cousins, in-laws, outlaws. We all got involved in it. So, let me tell you about my first 5 months and 3 weeks.
I was gonna say you've been there about 6 months.
Yeah.
That's what I got. I got 6 months over here, so I wasn't too far off.
You were close. It's been totally different from what I thought it was going to be. When you're on the campaign trail, it's easy to say generalities and stuff, but when you get on the dais, you discover that there's so much more information that goes into making a decision. from the board. You mentioned being the swing vote. I would have loved to have, sat in the shadows for a year or two to learn, but that wasn't the case. I keep asking, and through prayer, why am I here? Because this was a God thing. It was there's no other way to describe it. The Lord wanted me here, or I wouldn't be here. I mean, the odds were against us, but I keep trying to figure out why, and I'm asking that question, and I think it's just because of the circumstances right now. Mm-hmm. I'm the guy that's supposed to be shouldering the weight, and it's heavy. It's a lot heavier than I ever thought it would be. Going up there and pushing that button, yes or no, you'd think would be a real easy thing to do, but it's not. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because that you're going to make some people very unhappy, mm-hmm. and you're going to make some people very happy. I made a vote early on that was politically expedient, if you will. It was a decision that was an easy vote because politically it would make me look good, but it wasn't the best decision for the county. And I got called on it. A friend of mine I respect a lot called me and said, look, you can't make political votes up there. You can't make votes that make you look good. Mm-hmm. You have to get up there. Your job is not to do that. Your job is to do the hard work and to make the right decision. And the right decision and the politically expedient decision are not always the same. Mm-hmm. That would be easy. If I could just, somebody said, running for Congress, United States Congress would be easy. All you have to do is vote no all the time. Because we don't really, they're splitting with all the laws they're coming up with now. It's like, none of it's necessary. You could vote no to everything, and everything would be great, and you'd be the most popular person in the world. But that's not what we need. We need people to do the homework, to make the tough choices, and know you're going to get beat up for it. But I feel like that's what I was called to do, and it's not going to be popular. And just heads up, there are going to be some votes coming down the pike over the next 3 years, 7 months, and a week that are not going to be popular, but they're going to be what I feel through homework and discernment and prayer. It's going to be the best thing for the county going forward. Mm-hmm. I've already been accused of being a turncoat and folding like a cheap suit and wolfing
and that's
sheep's clothing. And
that's one of the things I wanted to talk about is, people think it's cut and dry with the way mm-hmm. development is, and they're not understanding that the people have ownership land rights also, and there's certain things where, okay, this one is the best. The next scenario could be 5 times worse.
Yeah.
And if you think you've gotten to the best scenario, and it to the untrained eye, it looks like, oh, he flip-flopped on us.
Yeah.
But it's not exactly the way it plays out. You're trying to get the best possible situation for everyone around us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because more times than often, if the developer seeks legal action against certain votes, they usually win.
Yeah.
It's not, so you got to get the best possible scenario for us. And I don't think people understand that. Yeah. So explain that.
Well, those pesky things called laws.
Yeah.
It's the darndest thing. I'm not going to make an excuse for any of the votes that I've had. I'm going to be open and honest about the fact that, I realize that there are things that are unpopular that I've supported, that people, you can generalize, you can throw a bomb out and say, something like, I supported Joy Andrews, so I'm obviously in the pockets of developers, which is the farthest thing from the truth. I've worked with Joy for 5 months and 3 weeks, and if you really want to count the time after I won the primary, all that time leading up to it, I've spoken to thousands of people about her, and she is probably the smartest person in any room you go into. Mm-hmm. And so what I have found is that she works for the pleasure of the board, whatever the board is. When it was a 4-1 last year, she worked for that board because that's her job. Now that it's a different board makeup, to me, she's been able to pivot and to make the new board her priority. But maybe more importantly than that, she has the respect and the admiration of the people that work for her, but the people that work around her. And when you say that, let's go to other counties around us, they all say the same thing. Man, she's the best. We're working with her. She's the best we've ever worked with. The city of St. Augustine Beach, the city, the department heads, the people that we do business with, they all saying the most responsive, hardest working. And so to me, that's what's important. It's not about whether or not she supported a 4-1 board a year ago. It's how she's supporting the 3-2 board today.
Yeah.
And so, and the 3-2 can go either way. You don't ever know.
Yeah.
And I talked a little bit about that yesterday, is that 3-2 puts you in a position of such power. Not necessarily power, but I mean, I'm glad the common sense, it plays in with you. You're not going one way or the other. And if only one side continuously wins, then we're not getting the best for the county too.
I agree.
So, sitting in there, you kind of knew before you got in the seat, this is a position you could possibly be in.
Mm-hmm.
How much weight is that, being in that position almost every other Tuesday?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever experienced anything like this before. The pressure that goes into trying to make the right decision. Somebody told me after the primaries, a friend of mine came to me and said, "You're the most powerful man in the county," and I reject that. I'm not the most powerful man in the county. I would love to be able to have a magic wand, and that's what I've been waiting. I've been waiting on the IQ jump. I was supposed to get a 50-point IQ jump. I haven't got that either. I'm still just this, country boy from Palaca.
I was going to say, you're from Palaca, so it's going to take a little while.
I was going to say,
Amazon
probably wouldn't raise the aggregate very high for 50 points.
Even Amazon goes, "Oh, Palaca, we'll give you a week."
So, but it's been so intellectually stimulating. I'm learning so much. This next chapter, I was in law enforcement for 26 years, and I felt like I was the best trooper that I could be and best law enforcement officer I could be. Learned a lot, got to do a lot of fun stuff with SWAT and teaching and flying and motors, and then the next chapter was in the restaurant industry, and I worked really hard to be the best I could be there, to be the best interviewer, to be the best hirer, to be the best boss, to be the best pitmaster that I could be, and winning pitmaster of the year, and my wife and I awarded for the philanthropic work that we do now, and so I worked really hard at trying to be the best there, and now I'm going to work really hard to try to be the best here too. My goal, this is my goal at the end of my term, is that people say he was a Paul Waldron like commissioner. That's my goal. I would love for that to happen. So you're talking about making these decisions. One of the things that we're bound by law to do is to not make a decision until we're sitting in the dais and we have heard all sides. We've heard everything. Mm-hmm. Substantial, credible evidence. Those are the things that we are required by law to do. So I'm not going to walk into that into that meeting with a decision on anything. I'm required by law not to. I have to hear it all. There are commissioners in the past that may have already had their mind made up when they walked in. Mm-hmm. Either no or yes. I'm not going to do that. I know there are things I lean towards, but I'm not making any decisions until it's time to push a button. And it all has to do with the fact that that's my legal responsibility. I'm required by law to not have an opinion. People ask me to defend my position all the time. Well, why did you do that? And why did you do that? And I can defend it. But what I can't say before the vote is how I would vote. It's illegal, and it's not fair to either side, and that's why. So it's a lot of work. I'd love to be able to jump from the rooftop. One good thing that I know, this is one of the topics that I'd love to cover, is this land swap that's going on. Everybody's talking about right now. That's an easy one because it's not coming before us. It's not something before the board. So I can stand here on this show and say,
and just so our audience understands, we're talking about the Gowanna land swap. Can you give a third grader's explanation of what that is?
Well,
and how the land swap came to be.
If you live contiguous to a state or conservation area like that, you can petition to do a land swap if you live next to it. There's certain circumstances that you can do that. And basically what's happening here is a person that lives or has land contiguous to this area up here wants 600 acres of right in the middle of the Gowanus State Park. And in return, what they're doing is they're offering over 3,000 acres of other environmentally sensitive lands in other parts of the state. There is some here. It's about 250 acres in St. John's. I think there's 1,300 acres, and it's all parceled out in different parts of our wildlife corridor. So, on the first blush, you think, wow, that might not be a bad trade. But when you drill down and you realize that they're taking 600 acres of the Gowanus State Park and giving it to someone else, you have to read the fine print. And one of the things that I did is I started, doing my homework. Yeah. The phrase that was in it is that the land swapped has all or some of the land has to be in conservation. It's required that all or some.
Yeah.
And when you read that SOME word, you realize that that's very, very broad. Yeah. This could be a horrible thing for Gowanus, for the headwaters of the Gowanus River, and I don't know, including myself, I don't know of anybody that would be in support of this other than the person that's going to get the land. I think it's an awful idea. We fought this a year ago at the Anastasia State Park, and it looks like we're going to have to continue to be vigilant. Is it vigilant or vigilant? Vigilant.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to have, I'm from Palatka, remember? But we're going to have to continue to be vigilant about our state parks and about our I appreciate the fact that they're willing to swap, 5 times the amount of land for this.
But it's not all in St. Johns County.
But it's not all in St. Johns County. And the land that they are looking to get is so ecologically important for us that I can't imagine anyone supporting this. Because I know I don't. When my 25-year-old son calls me on the phone and says, Dad, you know what's going on? I said, yeah. He says, there's no way we can let that happen. And I'm like, well, do your homework. Make sure that you check the facts and realize, find out, before you go off on an emotional tangent, find out the facts. And so I did my research. I found out the facts. I don't know who the landowner is. I don't know how important that's going to be going forward, because what we really need to do is we really need to stop this. And the only way to do that is petition the governor and the Department of Environmental Protection. Those are the ones that are going to be making a recommendation. The cabinet's going to make, the governor and the cabinet will make the final say about this land swap. So that's where you need to direct any kind of correspondence. But the DEP, that group, they'll be having the hearing first, and it's number 4 on their agenda. You can go on the website and you can actually sign up to attend that meeting by Zoom. You can actually go to Tallahassee and be in the audience. Right. But I've signed up to go by Zoom so I can make my displeasure known at this crazy idea to rip 600 acres right out of the middle of Gowanus State Park for God knows what. Yeah. And maybe that was my biggest thing is the unknown. We don't know what's coming.
We don't know what's going to happen with it. There's no plan ahead of that.
I've had some rumblings of what could come there, and I don't like it. So,
well, outside of it staying as it is, I don't like the plan.
Yeah.
Keep it as it is.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move into the Gas Buddy Gas Report. Tell us in the comments what gas prices are looking like around you. We've got Circle K on 207 at $2.69, Sunoco and North Ponce de Leon Boulevard at $2.84, Shell on King Street at $2.87. Shell on Ponce de Leon Boulevard is at $2.89. However, so is Owens on South Ponce and Sunoco also on South Ponce. We've got Gate at Mizell Road at $2.99. A1A Discount Beverage also $2.99. Gate on US 1 North is $2.17. Circle K on US 1 North is $3.19. That Gas Buddy Gas Report was brought to you by Chris Lucero Bail Bonds. In trouble with the law? Call the name that St. Augustine trusts. Chris Lucero Bail Bonds. Available 24/7. Their experienced team is ready to help you or your loved one get out of jail quickly with compassion and zero judgment. They make the bail bonds process simple and stress-free, guiding you every step of the way from paperwork to release. When every minute counts, remember the name and number. Chris Lucero Bail Bonds at 904-822-BAIL. That's 904-822-2245. We've got a live music report. We're going to start at 5 p.m. There's a lot at 5 p.m., so all of these are the 5 p.m. crew. We've got Driftwoods at Boathouse, Greg Johnson at Guy Harvey Resort, House Cats at Marina Munch. We've got Carpetbaggers at Tides. We've got Shayla Nelson at Tradewinds. New guys on the dock are defying the laws of physics. They will concurrently be at Beaches at Volano or OC White's, both at 5 p.m.
We're not sure.
They're literally listed at both. All right, Money for
They're
Nothing.
a big band.
They are a big band. They stretch the whole span. All right, Money for Nothing is closing out our 5 p.m. crew at Shaughnessy's. Moving into 5:30, we've got Chillicaya at Funkadelic Food Shack. Moving into the 6 p.m. crew, there's a lot at 6 p.m. Joshua Tennessee Worthy at Cimarron Golf Club. We've got Burn Unit at Fusion 904 Eatery. Tony Scazzaro at Hilton Bayfront. Zaza Flamenca at La Cocina at the cellar upstairs. West Register at Mellow Mushroom. Vegas Gray at Pesca Volano. And then we've got Gemma Salta, 6 p.m. at Harry's. One more. Brett Blackshear at Salt Life. And then at 6:30, we've got Romanza Festival. Mama Blue at Plaza de la Constitucion. One Ring and Colonial Oak starts our 7 p.m. crew. Caleb Joy at Ponte Vedra Inn and Club. Albert Castiglia at Cafe 11. Frank Pitra and Class Act at Fiona McCool's, 8 p.m. We've got Kevin Redwards and O'Malley's, 8 p.m. Bad Dog Mama at Barley Republic, 9 p.m. Bo and the Burners at Milltop Tavern, also 9 p.m. And Cholula rounds out our night at Prohibition Kitchen.
There's nothing to do here.
Nothing, not even a little bit.
Holy cow.
That music read comes to you by Fidus Roofing. When it comes to protecting your home, trust the St. Augustine roofing experts. Fidus Roofing and Construction voted best in St. Augustine every year since 2012. From emergency repairs to full replacements, Fidus delivers expert shingle and metal roof installations using top-tier materials like the GAF Lifetime Roofing System and durable aluminum or Galvalume.
Good job.
Metal roofing. It took me a week. Backed by trustworthy warranties and GAF Master Elite certification,
That's
Fidus
impressive.
ensures your roof is built to last. That's 904-355-ROOF.
They do pavers.
And gutters.
All right, we paid the bills.
Galvaroom.
Galvaloom.
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 Oh, dang, I forgot to do the sound effects.
That's all right.
All right. Back to Commissioner Murphy.
Yeah.
We do have to pay the bills, so
Yeah.
No, get it.
Our sponsors are amazing. By the way, in case you didn't realize this, today is National Barbecue Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's National Barbecue Day and
What a
NASCAR
shock.
Day on the same day. I don't think that's just by
By
chance.
a weird
I don't
coincidence.
think that's by a weird.
It's also my grandson Bryson's 16th birthday today.
Oh, happy
Yeah,
birthday!
he gets
Very
his driver's
cool.
license today. He's such a good driver. He's a great kid. So
Oh,
it's his
that's
birthday
NASCAR
today.
Day is his 16th
Yeah, NASCAR
birthday.
Day.
That's cool.
Oh my
All
gosh.
right, I was going to go to the other question, but you now segue us into
Yeah.
this one now.
Yeah.
16-year-olds and some younger kids are
Uh-huh.
really
Yeah.
getting on these e-bikes that possibly are a little
Yeah.
overpowered for them.
Yep.
Not Bryson, but some
Yeah.
of these other kids that are out there. The county commission has come up with this rule. And tell me how your involvement in this is and where it stands right now. E-bike rule.
Well, like any law that's that's syntax, ordinance, law, rule, those are kind of things that kind of go hand in hand. There's a process that we have to go through to make sure that we're doing the right thing and that we can put the brakes on something if we're not.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a process to go through. We're in the process of looking at it. And I'm in support of common sense rules and laws when it comes to e-bikes. I think it's a huge challenge, but I go back to when I was 11 years old riding a mini bike and a lady on the radio saying, "Mini bikes are dangerous." I'm like, I know. I've got more scars than
Kind of the
most when it
point.
comes to stuff like that. But one of the things that we really need to do, and this is not an indictment of the sheriff's office, because I think we have one of the best sheriff's departments in the state. I've been all over. I've worked all over from here to Miami, and we have a great sheriff's department. But we have laws in place now that govern bicycles, electric bicycles. You know, they're the same thing. If they got a pedal on it and they're under a certain horsepower, they're considered a bicycle. We have rules of the road for bicycles. So I talked about it in the last meeting. You know, we just need to do the 2 E's. The most effective thing is in education and enforcement. We have to get out there and we have to start enforcing the laws, educating people about what those laws are, which is a constant battle. And then we need to get out there with enforcement. We need to get out there. We need to start pulling these bicycles over. I saw a guy run. It was one of those, you know, where's the police? And oh my gosh, look, there's one right there. This guy rode through a red light on an e-bike, probably running 40 miles an hour, pulling that little trailer, just right through the red light. Bloom, right? Yeah. And then here comes a deputy after him. I was like, yeah, go get it. But, you know, not that enforcement's fun, but it's sometimes it's necessary to pull somebody over and have a conversation about it, especially when, you know, you can allow this behavior to go on and on. The guys are busy and they're out there, you know, taking care of crime. And the one thing I heard a lot is, you know, why are you bothering with me with the traffic thing when there's murderers when there's real criminals out there? And, you know, when you look at the statistics of how many people die every year, and it's usually from something really minor and really stupid that we do, we don't pay attention. And so there's a real reason why enforcement of these traffic laws have to be, we have to do that. It has to be a priority. You can't just let it go because it's a minor thing, because it turns into e-bike death or bicycle death or pedestrian death. And those are the challenges that we face. We got laws on the books. Let's go out there and get them.
Yeah. And we had the sheriff in last week and he said it can be used as a tool. He's like, we're not going to be out there targeting, but I mean, and he called to action on the parents. And I think that was the right strategy. Is maybe this law wakes up some parents to say, okay, here's how we're going to manage the e-bike. And instead of just saying carte blanche, get out there and go. So I think the parents have to take an active role in the success of this law. Yeah. Or it's just not going to work.
No, you're right. And in there lies the challenge. You know, we've all seen really, really good parents, and we've all seen bad parents, and we've seen no parents. And so, you know, the challenge we face is the education part. You know, our parents are supposed to be the ones responsible in educating us as we grow up about following rules and being good citizens when you grow up. But that sometimes falls through the cracks. And so how do we as a society pick up that role as educator and then enforcer? So it's a challenge. It is. It's always going to be a challenge as long as we live in a free society. So that's but I agree with you. That's something we can do better.
When I was in public school, we had a bike safety section of PE class.
Yeah, we had the rodeo.
Yeah, we had
the
bike rodeo.
Yeah, we had like a month where you learned the rules of the road as a bicyclist, and we all tried on helmets and we learned the hand signals.
Well, we didn't have helmets in my day.
We didn't have helmets.
We had those leather things. Remember those?
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Football helmets.
Football helmets.
Football.
Yeah. So do we not? Is that not part of the PE curriculum anymore?
I don't even think they have driver's ed anymore in high school.
We had driver's ed where we actually went out and drove a car in high school.
Yeah, we had a track and a car.
You didn't have driver's ed, did you?
We went out on the road.
Yeah, no, we did. Blake, you didn't have driver's ed, did you?
No, we didn't.
Yeah,
it was a class in school.
Yeah, we had a class in school.
And the teacher had a brake on his side.
Yeah. Teacher had a brake on his side.
We had that
just
car,
like learning to fly your plane.
We had like a mini.
There was an instructor that knew what they were doing next to us. Yeah.
And there was like a parallel park spot, and
we used to go to the track.
And the track and practice. You had to drive in front of all your friends.
And that was even in Palatka back in the 70s.
Yeah.
So back in the 70s.
All right.
Back in the day.
Right now, we're kind of going through the budget hearings and those things. What is some of the things that's really caught you off guard? Because this is, I mean, when you're on the campaign, you kind of sat in and you were there. Now it's your decision to make on what gets approved. Because I mean, the board kind of sets the budget and is in charge of the county attorney and the county administrator.
Right.
You don't have staff that you manage, but these two in setting policies.
Right.
That's the
goal.
Reader's Digest version of what your job is. This being your first budget hearing, what's the thing that's kind of caught you off guard? And what's the thing that's kind of like, okay, I understand it a lot better now. The aha moment. Great question. So we as a, there have been members, I have to be careful how I say this. There have been members of the board that have expressed a desire to reach rollback. And basically what rollback means is, our property taxes are based on the value, ad valorem, at value of what your property is worth. Mm-hmm. As your value goes up, your the amount of money that you pay in property taxes goes up commensurate with that increase in value. Now we do have homestead exemption, which caps that growth. Mm-hmm. And we also have, for non-homestead exemption, we also have a cap at 10%. I think it's 3% for homestead exemption. Mm-hmm. Cap, that's as high as you can go. If the value of your house doesn't go up, if it only goes up 2%, then your ad valorem, the value that you're taxed on will only go up 2%. Mm-hmm. But if it goes up 10%, then you're still, if you're homesteaded, you're capped at 3%. So there's a cool thing called homestead exemption, and if you're not taking advantage of it, you need to. But I guess the biggest challenge for me is the inflationary bite on the budget. You think, well, okay, inflation's 3%, but inflation's not 3% in some areas. In some areas, it's 500%. The government doesn't tell you that the cost of a traffic pole is not only tripled, but you can't get it for a year. Mm-hmm. So people are we have great traffic light programs like Brinkhoff and 207 or other places, to where we're literally we've appropriated the money, we've signed the contracts, we've let the contracts out, and nothing's happening. And it's the most frustrating thing in the world. And a lot of it has to do with just availability of equipment. But that's happening all over the spectrum. And so for me, I want to reach rollback, and there's a cost to rollback. And in a budget, the cost, you carry that cost over. If let's say rollback costs you $15 million, well, you're going to reduce it by $15 million this year, and it's going to be carried over to next year. You'll always have a deficit of $15 million. So I think as a county, we can handle that until you get into the fact that we're building, 4 new fire stations that have to be manned and equipped. Mm-hmm. And that's going to cost, 4 times what our rollback would be. Mm-hmm. And the money's got to, and it doesn't do you any good to build them if you can't.
There are no magic wands.
Put bodies in them.
And we have to keep up with the sheriff. We have one of the best sheriff's office in the country, that are literally one of the best in the country. And those services that we provide, the costs are astronomical. And, just in employment, think about the fact that we signed a minimum. I don't think we have a lot of people on minimum wage, so that doesn't affect us as much. But, the minimum wage goes up $1 every year until it gets to 15. I think it's in 14 this year. Mm-hmm. It's going to be $15. All those costs. If you want to retain your firemen, if you want to pay them a wage that allows them to not have to go out and have 2 or 3 jobs on the side, to support their family, well then, or go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Retention is always a challenge, because it costs us, thousands of dollars to train them and equip them. Mm-hmm. And then if they go somewhere else. So and especially with the sheriff's office is the same thing. There's always turnovers, always challenge. There's always people poaching, coming into our county and poaching our people because they're so good. So it's a huge challenge. It's a lot bigger challenge than I ever thought, but I really feel like, and so this is the good part about being a commissioner, is I get to go into these meetings with these directors and to see how hard they've worked to trim what fat they had so that they can give us what we want. They know we want to roll back, and they're doing everything they can do to get us there. They're warning us of the dangers and the things that they'll have to give up, the services that we'll have to cut. But I also know that, we're in a position economically. I'm hoping, my hopes is that just like we did with Trump and the first 3 years of him, his third year in before COVID, man, we were hitting on all cylinders, and the country was in a great place. I'm hoping that we get there again. Mm-hmm. But the challenge is that in his fourth year, because of COVID, we had an amazing crash. Mm-hmm. And we have to be really careful that all of our eggs are not in the same basket, if you will, when it comes to money.
Well, and I want to caution all the commissioners. I was there when we did a rollback in 2007, 2008. And then the state came in and did a mandate rollback. So it doubled down and it almost crippled us. So, and that's still going on over at the state as some of those mandatory, because the governor does not like property taxes. He'd prefer a lot of it to be on the sales tax side and some of the other locations. So I just want to caution, when we talk about rollbacks, I know what it did. We had the number one, at that time, we had the number one out of 67 counties. We had the number one park system out of 67 counties, and it almost crippled us. Luckily, we were able, and you have an amazing source with Jesse Dunn. He's been through exactly what you guys have done before, and he's done it, and he's now your assistant.
He's a wealth of information.
He's really good at. He was our budget. I think he was the assistant budget director at that time, and Doug Timms was the other one. But one of the things I just want to caution you: keep an eye on what's going on with the state before we make a hard decision on what's happening.
Yeah.
I would love for my property taxes to go down, but I don't want my quality of life to go down too.
Yeah, well, that's the challenge.
I'm comfortable where we're at right now. I definitely don't want it going up.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah,
the process.
Keep an eye on what's happening with the state, because that one's what scares me. If you get your rollback and then you get hit with that, it cripples.
Well, it's not just that. There's so many other things. The state mandated now that utilities have to capture all the sewage that comes through the system. It has to be captured. It has to be dealt with,
and then unfunded mandates.
And then that water has to be utilized again, what they call a blue line. Mm-hmm. And the state said, all right, all 67 counties, you have to do this by 2032. And you think about the burden that it placed on the companies that install the pipes.
Yeah.
So now these companies have 67 counties all at once wanting to come in and to get them to come do their work. And the cost rise. We're talking, I was in a meeting with utilities just a couple of days ago. $1.1 billion is what it's going to cost to do what the state is mandating us to do by 2032. There is no, well, if you get close, we'll give you a grace period. No, every county in the state has to do this by 2032, and it's going to cost hundreds of billions of dollars to get it done. And for us, it's $1.1 billion, and we've got to figure out a way where we don't have that. So where's it coming from? How are we going to fund that? We have a great utilities director, Neil Shrinky, and he's they have been working hard, and I think we're ahead of the curve. I think we're going to get in under the wire by several years. But it costs. It's a challenge.
And unfunded mandates go across the board. One of the things on that particular one that kind of bothered me is it's crippling the small utilities, because a lot of people don't realize it's not just St. Johns County utilities here in St. Johns County. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's like, I think 6 or 7 actual utilities in the county. Not just JEA and the county. Yeah. And that mandate goes to the small guys too.
Yeah.
Are having to do it, and it's crippling because they can't afford to do it.
Yeah.
Either that, or they're going to make their people pay way too much than what they can do.
Yeah.
Because
Volano is going to cost us a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys just purchased Volano last year.
Right.
And I'm sure it's a small utility, so I'm sure it's not up to St. Johns County standards.
No, it is not, and it's going to cost us a lot of money to bring it up. But I I think it's the right thing to do for the people over line. They need good services, and the people that did it before were, they're wonderful people, had a great job, but it can get overwhelming, especially when the maintenance, the deferred maintenance piles up on you. And then you realize that this is unsustainable. So we're in the process of building a new, water pressure. They don't have the ability to get water pressure. So we're building a new water tank system over there to help with water pressure. That's going to be, $10 million just so we can get water pressure over there.
Will be just elated.
Oh yeah. They're the Main Street group came in, and they're already really excited about that. There's a lot of good things going on in the county. I know that. I just want to say this while we have time. How do I say this without getting into more trouble than I'm in? We have the best city in the best county in the best state in the best nation in the world. Mm-hmm. We're so blessed to be here. I know that traffic is an issue. I know that we have issues, but there's no other place I'd rather be than right here in St. Johns County. And sometimes we forget how blessed we are to live in St. Johns County. And I know there's issues, and we're working hard, but boy, we're in a good place. I love this place. I've been here over 3 decades. I've lived in Northeast Florida over 5 decades. I've seen a lot, and there's no better place in St. Johns County to be right now.
And with the utilities, tell us the difference between an enterprise fund and a special revenue fund and a general fund, because I don't think a lot of people realize.
He's bringing the big questions out.
A lot of people realize, general fund is almost 100% from ad valorem,
right,
for the most part, and then there's other ones that are out there, but the 3 biggies, because people are probably like, well, why aren't you just taking the money you make on utilities and paying for the beach? You can't do that because we're not a charter government. Everything has to stay in its own
little silo
bucket because it's got the Gatsby laws and stuff like that. So utilities is a enterprise fund,
right?
So they basically have to make their own money, and
they pay their own way.
Libraries would be a general fund. They actually have a little bit with fees and stuff like that, but they're
dependent upon general revenue for that.
General revenue.
Yeah. Fire department, sheriff's department, admin services, those are our general revenue funds. But you're right, utilities is one of those things that they charge a fee for their services, and they're able to pay their own way. Parks and Recs, they have a few avenues of funding source, but they're still general revenue.
The only one that's really kind of the shared revenue is like the pier. The
pier
almost pays for itself.
Beach passes.
Yeah, it almost pays for itself.
I've got a number somewhere of how many beach passes we sold, and they're $50 for the season. Somebody sent me an email that thank you for reminding me that I've got to answer. My goal is to answer every single email that's sent to me, and someone asked me about those fees, and if it's so much cheaper as a resident over a yearly pass than it is someone who's visiting, why are we not giving those same discounts to the handicap stickers? So there's a lot of questions to be answered, a lot of work to be done. But you're right. There are enterprise funds and general revenue funds, and they're in different buckets. Parks and Recs, people are talking about, the parks. We have great parks. Well, why don't you take this money from over here and put it over there? And a lot of the funding that comes in for Parks and Recs is from impact fees, and so they have to stay in their silo, in their bucket. You can use them
in their district.
You can use them within there's 4 districts in the county. You can use them anywhere in that district, but you can't just use them for anything. They've got to be certain things. There's those things called laws that we have to follow.
A great story going back to that time of the recession. You can ask Jesse Dunn about this. I had been saving up my impact fees because I felt the recession was coming, and Doug and Jesse sweeped my impact fees that I've been saving for Parks and Rec to pay debt, and I was just crushed. I was devastated. Well, they didn't tell me until the budget hearing what they had done, and I'm looking at it, and now I have to present to everybody without trying to kill them at the same time.
Yeah.
So Okay,
Ooh.
one of the things, and I
Got it.
wanted to ask this question. I can't not ask this question as a person who owns a boat. Boat ramps, we're still at about the same number we've been at for
Yeah.
about the 20 years. We purchased the land near 312.
Right.
Do we know where we're at with that project? And there is a boat ramp in that plan? At
In
least
the
there was
plan.
in the
There
original
is.
plan.
There is.
Do we know
Yeah.
approximately where we're at with that? Because so many people are like, we purchased this,
Yeah.
but now what's happening with that?
Well, so here's where's the magic wand issue? It's going to cost us about $30 million to do that project.
Mhm.
We purchased the land, but now we need about $30 million, and what we're doing is, to be good stewards, is that we're finding pieces where we can, and then adding to that so that it's not an assessment we're going to make on the people. We're going to find a way to use it with existing funds, and that's been a challenge. We're looking for grants. We're looking for ways to get the money. We don't want to piecemeal it. We want to have the money in the bank so that when we go, we can get the whole thing done. I've seen the site plan. I've walked the land. It's going to be amazing. There's going to be a ton of parking, which is one of the things that we talked about. This is so important, is that we have to have parking for boats and boat trailers. But it's really going to be nice. Getting in and getting out of that area is going to be a challenge. So there's some things that they're trying to do with that. And
Yeah, because it's a beautiful piece of land.
It's a beautiful piece of land.
It'll qualify for FIND. It'll qualify for FERDAP. I mean, there's so many grants out there, and
Yeah.
I know the crew over there, Ryan and Jamie over there, are
Yeah.
working hard on it.
They're working really hard.
But it's one of those situations. As a boater, we're like,
yeah.
okay,
Come on, let's
come on,
go.
come on.
Let's
As
go.
you're waiting your
Yeah.
turn at
Yeah.
Doug Crane or at Bolano,
At
you're like,
Bolano, yeah.
okay, man, we
Yeah.
really need to add.
We do. It's coming. We're just trying to be good stewards with the funds that we have and make sure that we have the money in the bank before we kick it off, because there's always going to be something to come up, like the budget that comes up, and they're like, oh, wait, we can.
Yep.
There goes your hard-earned money. So we're just trying to. The site plan is beautiful. I've got a picture of it up in my office. I keep it up there, and I turn and look at it almost every day. I look at it. I go, man, that's going to be pretty. It's really going to be pretty.
Yeah.
I want it now. I'm sure that's what everyone wants.
Where's my
I'm
magic
sure
wand again?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what everybody
We got to
wants.
get
Yeah.
a magic wand issued to
Yeah.
Mr. Clay here.
I need a magic wand.
All right. Well, thank you, Clay. Appreciate
Yeah.
you coming in.
Thank you
And,
so much.
and so much information. I mean, we could probably talk another couple hours.
We could.
to
It's
get
crazy.
this.
I'm like, we need to talk about this.
I know.
But hey, the one thing is we elected you to be you.
Yeah.
So always just be you.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
that's the only takeaway I can give you, because you're doing an amazing job. Just always be you. So,
Well, shout out to my wife and my grandson Bryson. Happy birthday, buddy! And my wife, she's amazing. She's the engine that drives all this, and I'm just the dumb bus driver. So happy to be along for the ride with her. So
Thank you for being here.
got it. Thanks.
Troy, how do you want to check the comments?
on this Friday, I will forage my way through the fun and functional findings of our fans.
All right, that's a lot. BNS Signs want your business to stand out and stay that way. Trust the experts at BNS Signs, family owned and proudly serving St. Augustine for over 50 years. From eye-catching vinyl lettering to massive pylon signs, they offer a full range of custom signage solutions. Their experienced team handles everything from design and installation, crane service, repairs, and ongoing maintenance. With their fast and responsive team, your sign goes up quickly and keeps looking like new. Visit bnssigns.com. St. Augustine Handy House, looking for a custom or prefab portable building? Visit St. Augustine Handy House, proudly owned by the Troy Usina Enterprises and serving the community since 1988. With over 70 structures in stock, from sheds to barns to carports, you will find durable, high-quality buildings built to last. Delivery, leveling, and anchoring are always free, and financing is available. Open Monday through Saturday on State Road 16 in St. Augustine. Call 904-823-9092 today. St. Augustine Handy House, where quality meets convenience. That is State Road 16. I believe we
Road
misspoke
16.
for a little while.
Yeah,
And
the good
I-
Troy, the good Troy called us yesterday.
I love Troy. We have used him for business for a lot, and he is such a good guy
Yeah,
Yeah.
so professional.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
I said, he's been around.
and responsive.
Forever, yeah.
You call him on the phone and say, I need a shed, and they like, we'll get the permitting
he's the
started.
Good Troy.
Yeah,
He's the good Troy.
he's a good Troy.
He's the good Troy.
Why do I
So-
have to work with the dark Troy?
Yeah, you got the bad Troy.
Sorry.
So no, I mean when I called him yesterday, it's Troy. This is Troy. Yeah, it's just a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
Our names aren't that normal. All right, here we go. Wawa's at 298. Costco's at 271. Hair's up today. All business.
I know, all business.
All right. BP was at 299. It is National Barbecue Day, and there was a person in the comments, an amazing person. I don't know if you guys have heard of this person. Pam Weaver Murphy said it's when Sonny first started it all, May 16th, 1968.
1968.
Yeah.
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 That's
So, and people are in love with your lavender
Oh, yes.
lavender
my
cup over there.
Fan.
All right. Stodum stat. On this day, 1929, the first Academy Awards were given out. It was the brainchild of Mayer, who became MGM. They didn't have a ceremony or anything like that. They already had pre-announced who the winners were.
All right.
They didn't allow any of the talkies because they felt like it was unfair.
Okay.
So the jazz singer was not eligible.
Oh, wow.
And so they gave out like 15 awards, and now there's like 5,000.
It lasts forever.
Yeah.
That's Stardom Stat brought to you by St. Augie's Pizza in downtown St. Augustine, right at the corner of Riberia and MLK. Get yourself a slice today. And you know what? Get yourself a slice tomorrow on Saturday. Got any plugs, Troy?
Plugs, just have an amazing weekend. We have next week, you're doing some vacation time.
Yeah.
So I have some amazing guests next week, just throughout the entire week.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going anywhere with that.
what the vacations are.
I mean, you don't normally have amazing people here. Now you have to.
No.
Now you got to bring
I have to
amazing.
leave to bring
Well,
amazing
yeah.
people.
The amazing's coming next week.
Yeah. So no, we have amazing with you. We've actually and Matt Marino also this
Yeah.
week. So
We've had some great guests.
We've had some good ones.
We've
Yeah.
been on fire the month of May.
Yourself
We're not
included.
we're not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But we got Bill Dudley, Dr. Todd.
Yeah.
Love Bill.
We got Mayor Dylan coming in, and one of the
Dylan's an
constitu-
amazing guy. Amazing
constitutional
people.
officers. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're excited about it.
Great guests. I'll be with you on Monday. So I got to get through the weekend, one more work day, and then I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
Summer vacation with the family.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Blake, you got any shout outs back there?
Yes, I definitely do have a little bit of shout out. So last night was the Flago Athletics Hall of Fame, and I just want to say congratulations to Sarah Davis, Katie Kavasagi, and Dick and Kathy Keller. They are all amazing people. They have impacted Flago College and the athletic program so much. So they are definitely deserving of entering the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
last
I was
night.
there.
Awesome.
I was there. Great people.
Congrats, everybody. Thank you for your support. Thank you always for stars. Don't forget to like, follow Facebook, Instagram, subscribe on YouTube. Bye-bye.